The trading post on Gritstone Street stood like a proud, solitary fortress against the relentless Wyoming wind, its painted sign, the Arrowhead Trading Post, swinging on rusty hinges. Inside, beneath the flickering glow of 3 oil lamps, Elara Vance sat hunched over her father's massive leather-bound ledger. Ink stained her fingertips, a constant weary battle against the week's accounts. The columns of numbers blurred. Her back ached with the kind of exhaustion that clawed at the soul, not just the body. She was 32, and the hard-bitten folk of Red Rock Crossing whispered she looked closer to 40. The October wind howled outside, rattling the windows like a desperate ghost. Elara rubbed her temples, forcing her focus back to the ink. 200 lbs of flour sold to the Blackwood Ranch. 30 yards of durable canvas purchased by Mrs. Davies for their new wagon cover. $1,260 still owed by the gunsmith Silas, who promised payment after refitting the Marshall's Winchester. Her father, August Vance, God rest his soul, had built this post from pure grit and a handshake. 4 years ago, when a stray bullet from a saloon brawl found him, Elara had taken over without a second thought. She knew every supplier from Cheyenne to Salt Lake. She could spot a cheat's glint from across a crowded room and negotiate a price that made grown men sweat. But lately, the fight felt endless. The whispers, always the whispers, followed her like flies. Barren, poor soul. Cursed woman. Her hand drifted to her left ring finger, where a thin gold band, now polished smooth by time and worry, still circled her skin. Roderick Hart had given her that ring 7 years ago. He'd promised children and a future. The marriage lasted 3 years, 3 years of desperate hope, monthly disappointments, and Roderick's slow, agonizing coldness. The doctors in 3 different territories had given the same verdict. Some women simply cannot bear children. Your womb is unwelcoming. Your body is broken. Roderick left on a Tuesday morning without a word. She wore the ring because taking it off felt like admitting a final, crushing defeat. The bell above the door chimed, a sharp, unwelcome sound. Elara looked up to see Councilman Theron Blackwood entering. His substantial belly preceded him like a battering ram, and his silver watch chain gleamed menacingly. "Miss Vance," he said, using her maiden name. The deliberate slight made her jaw tighten. "Councilman Blackwood," she set down her pen. "What can I do for you at this late hour?" "I've been speaking with several business owners, Miss Vance. We're all deeply concerned about you. You're here from dawn until midnight, 7 days a week. It's not healthy for a woman in your condition." "My condition?" Her voice was a shard of ice. "Your unmarried state, your age, the enormous stress of running this establishment alone. A woman needs rest, Miss Vance, especially a woman who's endured what you've endured." Heat crawled up her neck. He knew. Everyone in Red Rock Crossing knew her shame. "I am perfectly capable of managing my father's business." "I don't doubt your capability," he smiled, "but capability and wisdom are different things. I've taken the liberty of hiring 2 men. They'll keep everything running smoothly while you take a much-needed rest at your mother's ranch." The words struck her like a physical blow. She stood so quickly her chair scraped loudly. "You had no right!" "I had every right, as chairman of the Red Rock Business Council. This isn't a request, Miss Vance. The decision has been made, for your own good. Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Green arrive Monday morning. I suggest you use the weekend to organize your personal effects." Her hands shook. Exhaustion, that relentless weight, pressed down. She had been fighting for so long. 6 months? Her voice came out smaller than she intended. "At minimum, your mother will be delighted to have you home. We all want what's best for you, Miss Vance. Sometimes we just need others to show us what that is." He left before she could form a response. The bell chimed mockingly. Elara stood alone, humiliated, dismissed, replaced. The defeat tasted like copper in her mouth. 3 days later, Elara rode out of Red Rock Crossing with 2 packed saddlebags and a heart full of bitter defeat. The Vance homestead sat 15 miles outside town, nestled in a valley where cottonwood trees grew thick along a seasonal creek. As she crested the final ridge, the ranch spread before her. The barn needed new shingles. The fences sagged. Even from a distance, the signs of neglect were clear. My father would have been heartbroken. Philomena Vance rushed forward, her smile blazing with genuine joy. Elara! Oh, my darling girl! I'm fine, Mother. You are not fine, but you're home now, and I'll fatten you up proper. Philomena linked her arm through Elara's. I should mention we have tenants now, a widow named Mrs. Thorne and her son, Kane. He's 16, very helpful around the property. You're renting out the cabin? Father never wanted strangers living on the property. Your father is gone, Elara, and I need the help. The ranch has become too much to manage alone. Guilt twisted in Elara's stomach. She should have been here. She carried her bags to her childhood room. Through the open window, she saw young Kane Thorne below, hauling water. He spotted her and raised a hand in an awkward, hopeful wave. She didn't wave back. She turned away, a surge of irritation mixing with shame. Why does his presence annoy me so much? Because you're angry at everyone and everything. Because you've lost control. The days bled together in a haze of forced inactivity. On the fourth day, she snapped at Kane for splashing water on her skirt. The boy's face crumpled. That boy works harder than any man I've employed, Philomena said. He didn't deserve that. Elara retreated to her room, consumed by burning shame. On the 6th morning, she woke with a cold determination. I'm going into town, she announced to her mother. We need supplies, and I need to get out of this house before I lose my mind completely. The ride into Red Rock Crossing took 90 minutes. She steeled herself against the whispers. She tied her gelding, Shadow, outside Morrison's general store and walked toward the entrance. That's when she collided with someone. Strong, calloused hands caught her arms, steadying her. A deep voice, rich with amusement, said, "Whoa there. Are you looking for a fight or just a fall?" She looked up into bright blue eyes, sun-darkened skin, and a crooked, familiar smile. "Elara Vance," he said. "Never thought I'd see the day you'd nearly knock a man over in broad daylight." The memory clicked. Kade Ryder. The boy who'd raced her to the creek. This man was neither small nor scrappy. "I didn't recognize you." "Figured. Been about 15 years since I rode out from Montana. Just came back last spring, Kade Ryder. Though I go by Kade these days." His grin widened. "Heard you took over your father's post. That's impressive. I go by Elara now. Too fancy for nicknames these days." "Ah, a lady of consequence." His hands were still on her arms. He let go quickly. "What brings you to town? Thought you'd be knee-deep in cattle. Needed a new rifle. Ran into some trouble on the trail yesterday. Bandits. Needed to make a deposit at the bank." He gestured down the street. Suddenly a shot rang out. Crack! A man staggered out of the Longhorn Saloon, clutching his shoulder. 3 mean-looking men followed him, revolvers drawn. "He owes us what he won, boys!" one bandit roared. "Don't be stupid," Kade said, his voice flat. "The marshal's office is right there." The lead bandit laughed. "Mind your own business, cowboy, or you'll be bleeding too." Kade's blue eyes narrowed. "This is my town, and I don't like cheap violence near the lady folk." Bang! The first bandit fired. Kade drew with blinding speed. Crack, crack! 2 shots so close they sounded like one. The first bandit dropped his weapon and clutched his knee, howling. The second went down without a sound. The third hesitated. Kade's gun, a massive Colt Peacemaker, never wavered. "Drop it," Kade commanded. The bandit threw his gun into the dust. Kade holstered his weapon. He hadn't broken a sweat. Town folk began to pour out. He looked at Elara, his intense blue gaze sweeping over her. "You all right, Elara?" She managed a shaky nod. You killed a man." "Self-defense, and not the first." He gave her a hard, cynical smile. "It's a brutal world, Minnie. Still the girl who tried to climb higher than the boys? Don't let a little gun smoke scare you off." "I go by Elara," she repeated weakly. "Sure you do." He tipped an imaginary hat. "Need to talk to the marshal now. Good seeing you, Minnie. Don't be a stranger." Elara finished her shopping, her mind reeling. She found Kade across the street, washing dust and blood from his hands. "The Harvest Festival," she blurted. "Will you be there?" "Probably. Uncle expects me to help set up the livestock pens." "Why? Are you planning to attend?" "Maybe." "Well, if you do, I could use a hand sorting supplies Saturday afternoon. Could use someone with your legendary organizational skills." "I don't need charity work, Kade." "It's not charity, it's genuine help. Plus, I heard Mrs. Davies is making her famous jalapeno cheddar biscuits for the volunteers." He stepped closer. I know what happened with the council. It was wrong. You built that business. They had every right. I'm just a woman who couldn't keep a husband or bear a child. Kade stopped her, his grip on her arm gentle but firm. Your husband was a fool, Elara. He left because he was weak and selfish, not because you weren't enough. You are the toughest, most resilient person I have ever known. Don't let them make you forget who you are. Thank you for today. It helped. Hey, Elara, he called after her. It really is good to see you again, and try not to look so much like a ghost when you walk. It's unnerving. Saturday afternoon found Elara standing outside the Red Rock Community Church. The church basement was a complete disaster. Kade stood alone by the stairs, and his genuine, immediate smile was a punch to her gut. You came, he said. Maybe. They worked side by side for 3 hours. Organizing the chaos was surprisingly satisfying. Remember the summer you convinced me to jump off Widow's Point into the creek? Kade asked. I didn't convince you, you challenged me. You nearly drowned because you forgot to take off your heavy boots before jumping. She laughed, a genuine, joyful sound. Kade's expression softened. I missed that sound, he said quietly. When they finished, Kade walked her to her wagon. You're a miracle worker. Kade walked beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. I know you, Minnie. You are not broken. You're just waiting for the right fight. He stepped closer. Come back next week. I'll find more work, even if it's just so I can see you. Why, Kade? Because I like spending time with you. Because these past few days have been the best I've had since coming back to Wyoming. Because I want you, Elara. I have since the moment I saw you again. I want you to need me. She nodded. Same time tomorrow, she agreed. The following Wednesday, Elara was back. They fell into an easy, sensual partnership. On Thursday, Kade invited her to his uncle's ranch to select livestock. Want to ride him? Kade asked, pointing to a beautiful roan gelding, vaulting over the fence without waiting. No saddle, Elara protested. Since when did Elara Vance need a saddle, unless city life made you soft? She glared, gathered her skirts, and climbed the fence. Kade helped her onto the horse's back, his hands firm on her waist. Then he swung up behind her, his chest pressed against her back. His arms came around her to gather the reins. Ready? His breath stirred her hair. She could only nod. You're tense, he murmured near her ear. When did you forget how to relax, Minnie? When life stopped being simple. Life's never simple. You just decided to carry it all alone. The horse ambled to a stop. Kade's hand covered hers on the reins. I don't see you as broken. I see someone who's fought harder than anyone should have to. That's not broken, that's surviving. Why are you being so kind to me? Because someone should be. And because I never forgot the girl who beat me at every race. And I still admire the woman who runs a trading post better than any man in this county. She turned back quickly, tears burning. We should head back. Saturday arrived. Kade asked if she'd help him haul the last supplies. As they secured the last crate, Kade grinned wickedly. Race you to the festival grounds. We're adults now, Kade. Scared you'll lose? A wild, reckless surge went through Elara. She climbed onto the wagon seat. They raced down the dusty road, whooping and laughing. Elara won by half a length. Kade approached the wagon. You cheated. She climbed down, but her foot caught. She stumbled, and Kade caught her, his hands gripping her waist. They froze, her hands resting on his chest. Minnie, he breathed. Don't call me that, she whispered. Why do you still wear that ring? His gaze dropped to her left hand. I don't know. Yes, you do. You're afraid if you take it off, it means he won. He did break me. No. Kade's hands tightened. You're still here, still fighting. Still the most stubborn, beautiful, maddening woman I've ever known. That's surviving. He kissed her. It was soft at first. Then Elara kissed him back, with all the loneliness and desperate longing she'd kept locked away. When they broke apart, Kade rested his forehead against hers. Come with me, he murmured. Please, just for tonight, let me show you what wanting someone really means. Her heart whispered yes. Where? The cabin by the creek. Just us, Elara, just tonight. She nodded. The abandoned cabin was dark and quiet. Kade lit a single oil lamp. We don't have to do anything, Kade said, reading her hesitation. And if I don't want to go back? He crossed the room, cupping her face. Then I'm going to love you the way you deserve to be loved. I know you're lonely and tired of being strong. I know you deserve to be wanted, not pitied. Let me want you, Elara. Please. She reached up and began unbuttoning his shirt. Kade covered her hands with his own. We have time, all the time in the world. He kissed her again, slower this time. He unfastened the buttons of her dress. When the fabric slipped from her shoulders, he caught her wrist gently. Don't hide from me. You're beautiful. I'm not. You are. Every inch of you is beautiful, and I intend to prove it. What followed was slow, tender, and overwhelming. Kade worshipped her body, learning every curve, murmuring praise until she trembled beneath him. When he finally moved above her, entering her with aching gentleness, Elara gasped at the rightness of it. This was fire and need and connection. Let go, he whispered against her ear. I've got you. She did, crying out as waves of sensation crashed through her. Kade followed moments later, groaning her name like a prayer. They collapsed together. Elara felt tears sliding down her temples. You made me feel alive again. That's one way to put it. He pulled her closer. And miracles happen, Elara. Sometimes when we least expect them. Before he left, he kissed her with fierce tenderness. This isn't just tonight. Not for me. I'm courting you properly from here on out. Let the whole town talk. You're mine now, and I'm yours. That's all that matters. 5 weeks after their night in the cabin, Kade took Elara on a picnic by the river. The smell of the raw cheese hit her like a physical blow. Her stomach rolled violently. She stumbled toward the bushes, retching into the grass. Kade was instantly beside her. Are you sick? Should I take you to the doctor? No, I'm fine. Just the smell, I think. Cade's hands stilled. He stared at her, something dawning in his eyes. Elara, when was your last monthly course? Her mind went blank. I don't know. I was so distracted. You need to see the doctor, tomorrow. Dr. Owen Quinn listened to her symptoms. The nausea, the missed course, the fatigue. After a brief examination, he sat back in his chair. Mrs. Hart, he said gently, you're about 4 weeks along. Congratulations. The room spun. That's impossible. The doctors in Denver said, doctors don't know everything. Sometimes our bodies simply need the right circumstances, or the right partner. You're happy now, aren't you? She nodded. That makes all the difference. Now, you need to rest, and talk to Mr. Ryder. He's been pacing outside my office for the past hour. Elara found Kade on the boardwalk. Well? He asked. She laughed through her tears, clutching his coat. Well, she whispered, I suppose I'm carrying a miracle. Kade threw back his head and laughed, then swept her up in his arms. When he set her down, he kissed her. Thank you for the miracle. 3 weeks later, on a golden afternoon, Kade led Elara back to the grove where they'd first kissed. He pulled out a small carved box with a simple gold band. Elara Vance, he knelt in the grass. You've been my friend, my challenger, and now the love of my life. You're carrying my child, and I want nothing more than to spend the rest of my days proving I'm worthy of you. Will you marry me? Yes! She was crying again, but these were tears of fierce joy. Yes! 1,000 times, yes! Kade slipped the ring onto her left ring finger. The new ring fit perfectly. Your proposal was terrible, by the way. To hell with the gossip. Very romantic, she teased. It was perfect because it was you. They married 3 weeks later. Addie. The reception, Councilman Blackwood approached. Mrs. Ryder, I trust you're finding the rest beneficial. Very beneficial, Councilman. In fact, I'll be returning to the trading post. My husband and I will be running it together. Blackwood's face turned purple. No, you see here? Kade stepped forward, his arm around his wife's waist. Elara built that business. She's twice the merchant you'll ever be. She's taking back what's hers, and if the council has a problem with that, they can take it up with both of us. Blackwood had nothing to say. Their first child, Sloane, arrived in late summer. 6 months later, Elara returned to the Arrowhead trading post with Sloane strapped to her back. She fired the hired managers and took over, this time with Kade at her side. Cade's rancher connections brought in new customers. Elara's sharp business sense earned loyalty. Within 2 years, they'd expanded the trading post. The ranch thrived under Cade's management. The greatest blessing came in the form of more children: Rowan, Juniper, Anya, and 4 boys: Ash, Hadrian, Godfrey, and Anselm. 8 children in 14 years. 15 years after their wedding, Elara and Kade stood on their porch, watching their children chase each other. Elara leaned back against Kade's chest. "Remember when everyone called me barren?" she said softly. Kade's laugh rumbled. "Best piece of misinformation this county ever spread, though I think 8 children might be proving them wrong." "I was so certain I was broken," Elara whispered. "You were never broken, just waiting for the right person to show you what you were capable of." He kissed the side of her neck. Sloane called that dinner was ready. Elara and Kade stood wrapped in each other's arms, watching the sun sink. Kade kissed her one more time. "Thank you for taking a chance on a poor cowboy, for giving me this life. Thank you for seeing me when everyone else looked past me, for loving me when I'd forgotten how to love myself." She smiled. "For confirming I was fertile when you went in deep and took all my energy." He burst out laughing. "You're never going to let me forget that night, are you?" "Never." "Good, neither will I." He took her hand and led her toward the house. They walked together through the golden evening light, partners in every sense of the word.